Well, welcome to the Tokyo Stinger Mark 5 build video. This video has been in the making for well, it will be in the making for the next few weeks because this is going to take quite a bit of effort to make a knife and film a YouTube video at the same time. As you know, it's not that easy to, have everything cinematically aesthetic in the workshop while you film. Because last time I filmed a YouTube video, sorry, a build video on any of my knives was in 2019, which was like 5 billion years ago at this point. It was like May 2019 or something like that. That was saw blade knives, and those are old. As you can see, this is what they look like. Yeah, I've way gotten better at that, so I have way better knives now. Now it's time to start filming them again, so we're gonna do that again. I've also been getting into plants too, but that's just another topic for another video. The Tokyo Stinger Mark 5 is gonna be like your hardcore knife. Do everything with it: baton, split, carve, bushcraft, tactical, you name it. Pretty much an all-terrain knife. It's gonna be very, very sick. I have put so much thought into design of how the sheath will be, the proportions, the weight, the balance, the fit and finish, the design, the intent. Everything about this is going to be great. So this is going to be something that's been in the making for about a year now. I just haven't went to it because I've been making a bunch of small knives this year, and I just haven't been amping up my efforts to actually make a bunch of knives. So also Riveraedge t-shirt, epic. Let's get to this first build video since 2019 on my new channel, Riveraedge. My name is Gillian. I'm a knife maker YouTuber. I do a lot of knife build, not knife build videos, just knife discussion. But yeah, I have big goals and aspirations for the knife industry, the knife scene, and the fragrance industry too. But yeah, just check out my channel if you want. But yeah, let's get to it. But first, check this out. Look how sick that is. Bruh. Nice, 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 nice. So I've been not really, the workshop's been pretty decent. I've been cleaning it up, modifying it, and I have a whole bunch of tools now that I can use to make these knives. It's gonna be sick. So we have our Tormek here, which is gonna be for sharpening. Gonna put a nice perfect edge on it. Then we have our toaster ovens for tempering. Then we have our heat treating station right here. So the quench tanks and the actual furnace. It's gonna be sick. And we have a bandsaw for cutting out our blanks and just pretty much anything that needs to be cut by a saw. Then we have our Ryobi drill press here. And we have our Big Daddy belt grinder. Yes. The belt grinder. This is the king of the workshop. It's gonna be sick. I love this thing. This thing is sexy. We're gonna be using an array of belts. I'm gonna take you through the whole thing, but I have a couple of knives right now which are kind of on different stages for some reason. Let me show you basically what I mean. So the knives will start off as a bar of steel. This has blue on it because it has the die, because I trace out the knife design, which is this. So this is the knife we're going to be making today. And basically, I put it on the steel and then I will trace it out basically. And after that's cut out, I will have this, right? A nice cut out. Look how thick that is. This is gonna be a sick thing. Oh man, it's gonna be sick. So we have our cutout, and then I will grind the bevels right there. Okay, this isn't a Tokyo Stinger. This is just an example. I actually messed this one up, so now it's some weird knife. It's gonna be some weird knife. I haven't drilled the holes yet either, so I'm gonna do that. And yeah, so watch me take this, finish profiling it, and let's get to it. Yeah, let's do it. It's flipping time. So what's flipping time? Basically, we're gonna flip the grinder to its vertical position. And the reason we're gonna do this is because when you're grinding the profile of the knife, right here, once you reach the curves, you can't really reach that with the flat platen, because the flat platen, you can only use the corners, because you can't really reach it in with a square shaped surface point of contact. So we have to use the wheels. So the wheels is curved, which can get into these corners. Pretty self-explanatory, but it's actually a pretty big deal, because you think it's not really a big deal when it comes to knife making, but it actually is. So yes, your point of contact on the grinder is what will translate into your knife. That's biggest rule. So yes, let's do that. And let's finish cleaning up the edges so we have a perfectly ground Tokyo Stinger. It's gonna be nice. Once that is done, I'll show you what else we're gonna do. It's gonna be sick. We're gonna drill the holes, which is gonna be epic. Let's do this. So, rough profiling is done. Now, this is the build video, so I won't explain exactly the design of why it's the way it is, what this part is for, what that notch is for, why it's a trailing point, why it's a curved handle without much, finger grooves or anything like that, why it's so big, because look at this, it's as big as my head, it's a pretty big knife, so yes. Now it's time to mark it out, let's do that. Well, we have drilled the holes, and now it is finally time to do the bevels. So the bevels is pretty much where it can go pretty wrong, because this is probably the hardest part of knife making. Grinding bevels, I've marked it out where I'm going to grind it, right there. And we have our center scribe line as well. So grinding bevels actually takes a lot of skill to do. I'm going to be doing this freehand, so I'm not going to be using any jigs or setups for it, but it's going to be nice. So this is the first time doing a Tokyo Stinger Mark II, so 2 grinds. I think I might do the secondary bevel for the after heat treat, but I'm not too sure. We'll see what happens. So let's get this bevel ground. Let's do this. It is day 3 or 2, something like that, but the Tokyo Stinger is doing pretty decent. So it's not finished yet, because we need to grind all the way up to the scribe line there on the bevel, but this is turning out very nicely. The bevel is nice and even. I do like how clean I ground the bevels. I'm getting pretty good at this, bevel grinding. I wasn't always the best at bevel grinding, but now I'm getting pretty confident with it, so I'm pretty happy with that. So after this, we are going to surface grind it. Well, not really surface grind it, but we're gonna put it onto the flat platen and grind the flats to 200 grit. And we're gonna raise these to 120 grit. And then we'll raise it to 200 grit after heat treat. So let's do this. Well, the bevels are pretty much done. Now, it's time for the swedge. So the swedge is a secondary bevel on the top. This will add the aesthetic appeal to it, make it a little bit more lighter as well. Give it a slightly bit more functional stabbing, penetration type stuff, because it is, you know, it's essentially less steel, but it's mainly for looks. And it's not really gonna negate the knife's like functionality at all. So yes, we're gonna grind the swedge, and I've already marked out how deep the swedge will be. So it won't be like a full-on false edge, it'll just be a swedge. That's that. Let's do this. It's my first time grinding a swedge. It's gonna be pretty intense. I've tried this once with my very first Tokyo Stinger, but I ended up messing it up and it became just a double-edged dagger thing. So it wasn't necessarily bad, but it wasn't what I was aiming for. So this one I really hope this, you know, this turns out great, because it has to turn out great. This is literally it. All right, let's do this. All right. So it went pretty well, the swedge grinding. A little bit of imperfections, but first time swedge grinding, so what the hell. Check this out. Man, I have been waiting so long to make the Tokyo Stinger Mark 5. Man, look at this. Look how sexy that is. I absolutely love my design of having that thingy, the flat, and then the trailing point, and then the big belly, and then the sidewards curve there. I wouldn't necessarily say that this is the most unique design ever, because there are knives out there with trailing points and a swedge, but just this specific design, especially with the little guard there, you got a little portion there, and it's just such a nice flowy design. It's so, man, this is great. I thought I'd mess up the swedge, but I really didn't. Now, one thing that I would change with the swedge, is probably the thickness on because right here, as you can see, it's very thick and it kind of tapers. It still remains pretty thick towards the tip, but I think I might want to make that thicker, just because I want it to be more hardcore. Now, by grinding a swedge, it does make the Tokyo Stinger Mark 5 more precise for stabbing and skinning and all those things, but it's still stout enough that it is going to withstand abuse from, you know, prying, because the SE Jungless is way thinner than this. It is way thinner, and I've pried on that thing a lot, and this is tougher steel than 1095. It's 5160. So I have no doubts about that. I think I will keep that like the same. I'll make it a little bit thicker just to be on the safe side. But other than that, I really love the way this has turned out. This is just, man, this is great. It's time to heat treat this thing. Oh, but before heat treat, I have to actually drill more holes to lighten the blade, and I'm gonna grind away some steel just to lighten the handle, give it a nice balance, because right now it is basically balanced at around this point. I want it to be balanced all the way here, but as you can see, the handle is more heavy. Yep, so its balance point is about here. I need to just give it a bit of steel, make that a bit more, you know. Basically, when you put the handles on in the hardware, it does become pretty heavy. So I don't want this to be handle heavy, I want this to be evenly balanced, basically. So sick, man. This is gonna be sick. Can't wait. I cannot wait. Man, I cannot wait. This knife is the future, bro. This is the future right here. This is the knife that I'm going to send out to a bunch of YouTubers to review. Man, this is like a dream of mine, like literally. This is sick. Man, oh man, this is cool. I've wanted to make my own survival knife, or hardcore, do-it-all knife for ages. Because really how it all started was because I wanted a survival knife, but I couldn't get anything what I wanted, and this is pretty much what I wanted. Look at this. It's gonna be sick. And I believe that this design, a lot of people are gonna love this, so I'm gonna be perfecting this design and making it, oh man, it's gonna be sick. Let's do this. big day in this workshop. It is very strange how much time one knife can take up, especially if we haven't really, been doing this specific model for a while. I don't even know what I'm saying, but so we have the handle hollowed out. So it's nice and hollow with a bit of holes. And so what this does is this helps with the balance. Look at that. Oh, wait. There we go, check that out. It's nice and almost perfectly balanced now. Please don't fall. Now when we slap the handle on this, it should be pretty much slightly handle heavy, but when you chuck back here, it'll be blade heavy, obviously, because more weight. But yes, Tokyo Stinger Mark 5, bro. This is gonna be sick.